Alright, let's talk some more specifics on Lord of the Rings martial arts, I guess, is what this video is. So I'm going to go over human, or I guess Dunedain Númenórean fighting. I came up with this thing I realized. All the fighting in Lord of the Rings is sort of magical realism, because it's all based in reality, real fencing techniques, real armor, real weapons, but the characters have superpowers. They're supernatural beings. Even Aragorn, who represents men, is a Dunedain. He's kind of like Wolverine. He lives super long. He's got super good senses, almost as good as an elf. And so he's actually superhuman fighter. And then once you're talking elves and dwarves, you're even beyond that. So a lot of the fight choreography is a little bit more fancy, a little bit more visually interesting than what would actually be practical. I'm going to start with, sort of the Aragorn fighting style, Strider fighting style. So this is a cold steel practice sword I have of a hand and a half, or a bastard sword. It's kind of which is the kind of sword Aragorn has. Now the movements he does, there's some cool fancy stuff. It's mostly from Western broadsword, maybe a little saber fencing, but there's a couple elements of more sort of Japanese sword styles in there every once in a while too. But everything's pretty direct and straightforward. He probably has the most practical fighting style. There's a lot of, parry punch, or boom and then kick, things like that. Headbutts, of course. But he does a lot of cool, simple, and effective things. And a lot of things are pretty straight lines. There's some more fancy stuff, but Aragorn does a lot of number 6 parries and some number 5 parries where he lets the weapon slide off. The person runs by, so instead of just holding it stiff, boom, and then cuts their legs, or their head, their back. You see that a lot in Aim in Hand and some in Helm's Deep and everywhere else. I'll get into what he and Gimli do to me at Battle of Pelennor Fields in a little bit. Something you also see him do in some of the wider angles in Aim in Hand at the start of that fight after he tells Frodo to run, is he'll actually, which is a very samurai thing, samurai swords, you're not really supposed to parry so much. You're more supposed to evade if possible, just because of the way they're made. They can get notched a little more easily. But he also does this right at the beginning, this sort of thing, that's from Western fencing. You hold your helmet, salute. But other things have similar Filipino martial arts that. But he comes up and he just ducks under the first strike. It's a very samurai thing. I showed in the video last night. I'll show again a little bit the sort of Elvish fancy way to switch grips. Aragorn just boom, boom, and back up, or drops it and back up, or just like that, very direct. Everything. There you go. Outtakes. Everything's very direct though. There's some figure 8 type stuff, and this sword can be used either two-handed or one-handed, hence a hand and a half. I don't have something quite dagger sized, but here, something I grabbed to represent an orc scimitar. When he grabs his dagger, then he uses this one hand. He'll sometimes parry with the dagger, sometimes parry with the sword, stab with the dagger. Aragorn Strider likes to use a lot of double parries as well, which you can again do sort of like a sliding thing, or boom, stab. Aragorn likes to use the path of least resistance, essentially. It's his style. Very simple and effective. Makes me think of Bruce Lee. Which, fun fact, I first got into Bruce Lee, who's, if you follow me at all, you know I adore him, idolize him. While visiting the set of Lord of the Rings, renting his movies at the suggestion of Billy Boyd and Don Monahan. Fun fact. Alright, moving on. Let's talk about elves and dwarves. Elves and dwarves are all about circles, which is a big thing in martial arts, especially the cooler looking types of martial arts are generally gonna be circular. Aikido, which we can debate whether that's at all practical, but Judo would be sort of a practical example of a big circle, and something more like Silat would be an example of small circles. So let's do Elvish first, small circles. So I told you I was going to show you step by step. You know what, actually, first, speaking of elves, one more cool samurai type thing that Aragorn does, let's just do that real quick, is this, when he's getting ready to charge the Uruk-hai pikemen with the elves of Lothlorien. Kind of does this very stylized thing, which again is straight, right? Straight lines. Then he comes in, bats the spear. I think he even does a spin, maybe, as he's running by. Aragorn likes to just keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Everything is boom, done, boom, done. If he can't use his sword, he uses his foot, his fist, his face. Alright, let's talk Legolas. So, spinning, switching, small circles. You just... Now, in Filipino martial arts, you would not break your grip. You would just go like that. You can use it sort of to do under there, and then you can switch, sort of nunchuck style. Or you can, once you've established that fake out, just go back, do the Bruce Lee, right? Boop, boop. Oh, looks like Bruce Lee nunchucks. Interesting, he was friends with Danny Asano. They work together all the time. I wonder if there's any connection. Huh. Anyways. But the cool looking, flourishy, elvish way, you're gripping it through sort of thumb and edge of your hand, and you just let it drop, and the counterweight of the handle, which is why there's a big metal thing on the end of the elven daggers, just brings it back up. You just push it a little with your thumb, bring it back up. You can go that way, it's a little harder. That way. Both sides. Better with my right hand because I am right-handed. Now, to switch grips, you do that, right? But you put it between your digit 2 and digit 3, your index finger, middle finger, and then complete the circle by letting it drop like that. And you reverse the order to bring it back up. Again, the Aragorn practical way, just drop it, switch it, and then there's the Elvish way. And then everything else is kind of like a lot of figure eights in there, right, you know. And then just without looking, kind of go back, but it's all pretty much in tight. There's also some of the Lothlorien elves and the ones in the prologue have that long, that long bladed, long handled sort of naginata sword, and that is also, even though it's a bigger, you could use it like an axe, it's a big cleaver. They still do tight circles with it, right? One sec, I'm gonna pause for sound. Okay, so the Elvish, Elven, I think Elvish is just language, Elven naginata. So like I was saying, you could expect to see some things similar to the dwarven axe stuff, but they keep it tight, right? They do some circular stuff, but it's even right there. There's some big things, but it's all, they're keeping that tucked, right? And just right in the body, keeping that posture straight, getting just a little whip. So it's a little different than, say, what a dwarf might do. I'll switch to the broom, as requested. I'm going to break out another broom too in a second. Let's see. Okay. Show you how to do the behind the back move and the spin over your head move. Behind the back. Very simple. Hopefully what you're dealing with is relatively balanced. Axes tend to be weighted towards the head for chopping. That can help with this. But you want a little bit of counterbalance, hopefully. not totally necessary. First I'll show it with a light, well-balanced broom, and then I'll show it with a heavier, non-balanced broom. So basically what you do, so you're holding your axe normally, like the way you would carry it, or let's say it's down here, if you're using two-handed, you just grab it, flip it to your palm up, grab it with the other hand palm up, let it drop, go around the back, bring it up, and there you are. Starting with the left hand, same thing, palm up, grab with the other one, boom. Here's the hard part, passing it to the other hand without looking. The rest just kind of feels natural. It's just gravity and circles. So fast, right? And show it with something heavier, which is, without a broken handle was kind of what I was practicing on actually. On set, a little smaller, so a little less heavy. But same thing, so this is like very, but so I would hold it, end up like, you know, if I was going to do this, it would be like this, probably way up by the head. So boom, same deal. A little harder to do it fast. See, outtakes, cut off my leg. All right, let's try it. Gotta put just a little bit more muscle into it. Now, this seems just totally silly, like why are you switching hands, whatever. In the context, again, of a super hero, let's say, Gimli, a dwarf who has supernatural magic abilities, since he's a dwarf, super strong, super tough, whatever. Let's think about how many hits, parries, this could actually be. Now, this first move, let's say it's just, oh, I'm pulling it out, it's awkward, I can't get it, but it could also be parry with the middle, could be a swipe, maybe a little hit with the butt end even, but then this one, that's a parry, that's sort of like a karate staff parry, right? A little parry, boom. Then, Gimli be super strong with one hand. If there's an orc there, I say guts him. Boom. Cuts off another orc's leg, right? And then the big hit. So that's actually up, that's, you know, a couple blocks maybe and three or four hits. So like, could even be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe. Another thing Brett taught me how to do is, this looks cool, right? It's kind of like, got like a little bit of a samurai vibe over the head. Boop. Whoop. You can, another way to switch grips that's a little more fun than, you know, just, I guess that would make sense with that. Just over the head, just kind of, you know, you're just going up, 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 you bring it down. You'll see that in samurai movies or whatever, on horseback sometimes. Mostly it's just a flourish, but it helps you, you're transferring that circular motion into a more straight one, and bring it up to use gravity, essentially. So like, the way that works is you bring it up, and then you cross your hands for a second and bring it down. You can switch which one's in front, or you can not switch. I'll do that in front of me. And that's just, you know, just those of you who do baton work or more aesthetic martial arts will recognize this stuff. Boom. And then when I came up, based on a combination of that and the elven figure 8, right? Or the elven whoop with the big sword, is this. Whoop. So this is my Hank's patented Holgar, the multicultural Rohan child, with the elf girlfriend, maybe. That's an in-joke between me and Bernard. Came up with this Elvish, dwarvish hybrid technique to switch your grips. So I'm just going up, diagonal, switch, let it slide, let gravity help you, boom, let gravity help you, and then you come up with the same sort of force beat, going down, a little harder. Haven't figured that out yet. With the heavy one again. It's a moment where it's weightless. It's good practice. This is way impractical compared to that broom. The broom will get smashed in a second though. Now here is a practical weapon. It's actually a bit like an axe. Right? Even has a nice little curve at the end. Whack, whack. Now let's see. Let's talk about jumping off the ships at Pelennor Fields. I'm the first orc that charges. Come at Aragorn with and my dad, with a scimitar. A little shorter, a little more curved than this. I come just and swing at what would be an angle 1 in Filipino martial arts, basically made a little more horizontal. Aragorn, or maybe it's, you know what? No, I think it came with an angle 2. You can tell me if you watch it. Right, so I'm just coming swinging wildly. You've all seen the GIF, you see GIF, whatever. You've seen the movie. Aragorn just doesn't care. He's just walking forward. He sees me. All he does is just swipe me to the side, and he's on to the next orc. Like I talked about, he moves forward, he moves forward. So he brushes me off. Behind him is Gimli. Now Gimli has 3 axes plus 2 throwing axes. Gandalf destroys one of them, 2 towers, so then he has 1 throwing axe. But he's got a larger double-headed axe and then 2 single-headed axes, one of which is a little shorter than the other. So what he does, he sees me coming brushed off, he just lets me have it with a wham, 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 like that. Doesn't work as well with the starting with the shorter one because that gets in the way, right? But if you've got the bigger one, it's okay. So, whack, 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 and I go. I think that about covers it. Let me know, I guess, if there's any other requests. For weapon types, I've got some karate weapons. Karate, it's more like karate in Okinawan, I've read, actually. It's not karate. 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 I don't know. I'm not Okinawan. But that's what I've heard. I spent all my time as a little kid correcting people's pronunciations only to find out that was sort of the Japanese who were the occupying imperialists in Okinawa. Actually, it's a separate culture and language. And the Okinawan pronunciation is closer. How do we say it in English, actually? Karate. Karate. So, there you go. The more you learn. Yeah, that's about it. Touch my face. I don't know. I'm negative though, so it's okay. No, it's not. Alright, thanks. Like and subscribe. Let me know if you got anything else you want me to do. Oh, real quick. One more thing. Let's talk about Hobbit techniques. Now, in Moria, there's a lot of catch-as-catch-can filming, different times, reshoots, like all throughout the main shoot. And in it, Samwise has a bunch of pots and pans on his back because he's the cook in the group. He also has a little sword that Strider gave him in the movies, or that they got from the Barrow Wight in the books. And they didn't end up using that much of it because it looked a little too sophisticated for a little gardener hobbit. But he actually, during it, grabs a skillet from his backpack and has his sword and did some kind of cool stuff, you know, scrambling on the ground and stuff, but with the goblins, you know, and just, that's some sort of Filipino stuff you could do. Let's say, there's the Gimli move with the pot and pan. Now with this, you're probably, it's a little hard because you want to hold it like this and hit that side, but you might want to hit with the flat of a pan, actually. Let's see, so, wow. I don't know. I guess that is Hobbit martial arts. Alright. Hope this was fun.